Welcome back to part 2 on the Sebring MX. We left off with it all in epoxy, so Bo did the epoxy on that. Bo and Luke are now doing the final shaping and bits and pieces, and there's quite a few wobbles and bits that we've come across, so which is why we've actually got quite a few breakthroughs here. So what we're going to do is get all the levelling and the shaping work done in a it's mostly fiberglass, elastifiber, Nova Classic R elastifiber, little bit of fine filler work with the spectral glaze, which takes care of all the minor pinholes, which is actually what Bo's on at the minute, just some minor pinholes in the body. So once that's all done, and we're happy that we've got these shaped nice and uniform, we'll give this another coat of the epoxy before moving on to the high build primer, and moving forward to colour. We will have the panels off. A gentleman did ask actually in part 1 how come the boot lid's off but the other panels aren't. The boot lid came off because they've got chrome external hinges which the customer would like to either replate or replace. So he wanted the hinges to make sure if he needs to replace them, he gets the right ones. So for the purpose of shaping, we keep it all together like this to make sure the assembled shape is really where we need it to be. Once that's done, all the panels come off. The whole thing is primed, panels are primed inside and out, the body is primed with all the shuts being primed, and then we colour it disassembled as well, put it all together, reassemble it for the customer who drives off into the sunset. So we'll hopefully get to that point at the end of this video. Back in the booth now, having had an isolating epoxy put on, we're now going into the high build primer. This is Spectral's 355. Luke is busy enjoying the fruits of our brand new WSP I Want a Paint gun, which is for the primer only. It's an awesome gun, and yeah, this is our first time using it in anger. We've done some test pieces, as you've seen in our previous video, on this gun, but we're now using it real time, live on a job. Okay, here we are now. The Sebring is fully coated in Noble 35500, which is a dedicated high build primer. Luke started now just cutting that back, ready for colour. But before we go back into that in any sort of detail, we've got the panels over here, which are ready for their next stage. They're all shaped up. I say they all are. We've got the boot lid here that we've yet to get into epoxy, so that's a little bit behind the curve. The rest of the panels are now in epoxy. They're shaped. They're ready for one more coat of epoxy and then into the 35500 primer. So they're moving along nicely. But back over here with Lou. So this is now in its final stage of primer. So Luke's setting up the panel and blocking it down. This is our first full body with the new primer gun. And it seems to be cutting away really, really nice. That's operating with a 320 grade sanding block. I can see, because I'm used to working with Lou, obviously, minimal effort going in here. And there's minimal peel that is cutting away. So, straight away, we are refining the panel rather than getting away the texture in the primer. And yeah, seems to be making short work of this. is going in there really nice. Rather, it's coming out of there really nice, but it's marching on now towards colour. So really impressed with this WSP. We're looking forward to testing it on some bigger stuff. Mentioning no names, but I'll leave Lou now cracking through this as we head towards final colour. Final stages now of the prep. The whole body's been blocked down in a 320 as we just showed you. Just going through now, just identifying any little minor blemishes, keying up the shuts, and then Luke's busy over there DAing. So it's going to be a random orbit sander going 320 to a 500 grade. We colour onto a 500. So edging ever closer now to getting this into colour. The little marks of tape there, just identifying any small pinholes or deviations within the deviations, within the primer. Just about ready to go.
Okay, so we're now in the booth with the Sebring. Booth's obviously all been cleaned down, blown down, car's been degreased, and we put a little bit of rub-through primer on the areas that we have rub-through on. Right at the beginning of the build, we scanned the gel coat to get the colour for the car as per the customer's request, so it should be the exact same colour as before. We're going to go ahead and put 2 coats of base coat down on the car, just underneath 2 coats of CSR lacquer, which is actually the premium Novels for classic car lacquer. So fingers crossed, should turn out very nicely.
Okay, there we go. That's one Sebring into its colour with the Noble for Classic Car CSR clear coat over the top, which always gives a stunning finish, just stunning. So we've left this overnight. We painted this yesterday. We left it overnight to flash off. So it sat in the booth for about 45 minutes at 20 degrees while we cleaned down everything last night. And then we just left it without breaking it, just to allow everything to flow out and gas out really nice and slow. Come in this morning, we put it on for a 45-minute bake, running that at 65 degrees to give us 60 odd degrees panel temp. It's come out really nice, nice clean job. There are a few little bits and pieces we just need to go through and denib, give it a polish up, but we're now ready to crack on, get the panels done, and then we can start reassembling. So great job yesterday, Lou. Nice, clean, crisp job. Moving on into assembly process now. The booth is available for the next couple of days, so it makes sense to have the car in here just to cleanly assemble and refit all the bits and pieces, bits of trim. Lou's just fitting the new bonnet dummy grille, I guess, for want of a better of a term. So we're just going through now, fitting it up. Customers bought a whole load of new fittings and chrome and so on for this. So in the calm, quiet confines of the paint booth, Lou's busy just reassembling the car, and then we'll give it a final denib and a polish once it's all together and ready to go out the door. So it's moving forward now at a pace. Won't be long before it's fully assembled, cut back and polished, and ready to go back to the owner. The customers requested that we paint the anti-roll bar, which is satin black. But these are bolted down through the chassis, through the body into the chassis rather. So we took the bolts out, and surprise, surprise, it won't come out from there. It's well and truly seized into the chassis. So we'll just carefully backmask everything off and a coat of satin black on there, ready to bake and cure while we push forward with the rest of the assembly. Being a kit car, there's a degree of give and take with the build quality. And the way these screens originally went in, they're bolted in through the body. There's some heavy bracketry underneath, which we'll show you in a minute. And then where they go down through the body here, there is no official seal or anything like that. It is basically just backfilled with a mastic type sealer. In our case, we use U-Pole's Tiger Seal, which is an exceptionally hard wearing, waterproof, temperature resistant sealer. So once that's all bonded in there, as Luke's going around doing now, we allow that to fully cure before refitting the chrome trims that finish off the windscreen pillar. We've got the new glass in there now, so there's new glass, new rubbers, and just, yeah, finishing off with a big builder sealer all the way around there. Peel the tape back, making sure that's a nice, neat, tidy join in there, and weatherproof. Okay, a few people have asked us on flattening and polishing, which we're not going to go into in huge depth. Sorry, there's a lot of noise going on. Bo's busy at the back there with the DA, the oven's going, so hopefully this is coming out clear. But we'll just touch briefly on a bit of flattening and polishing, which is what we're doing on the Sebring at the minute. If you go right back to one of our early videos about glass-like finish and realities of things, this is getting a denib and a polish. This is not having weeks and weeks of perfecting the gloss finish. That's a different level. That's show car finish. This is a road car. So if you come in here a minute, Lou, you can probably see we've got a nice clean panel here. This is gun finish. We haven't done anything to this. This is just as it's coming out of the gun. Now before I touch this, I can see we've got a big bit of debris here. Now, unfortunately, no matter what you do, you will get bits in your paintwork. It's just a fact. You're not going to avoid it. So what we're going to do here is just have a quick run through about how we're going to flatten and polish this panel out. Keep your cloths all separated. When we get to the polishing stage, we'll be on different cloths, but I'm using this as a clean cloth just to wipe down, make sure I've got no dust and debris on there. We're giving it a blow down as well with the airline. There's loads and loads of different ways of doing this. So some people will agree with us, some people will disagree, but that's life. We do a lot of wet sanding here. For the purpose of this, primarily we're going to be using dry sanding, which is a great way to go actually. The advantage with the dry sanding is, as we're going, we can see what we're cutting out and where any defects and nibs are. With wet sanding, because the panel's wet, it's shiny and it's gloss, and you can't really see where you've been or how far you're getting. But there's some good dry products out there now, and we love this little kit here by Kovacs. We've got here a selection of sticky back papers, 3000, 2500, 1500 grade. There are some 800s in here as well. Different contoured, different shaped blocks, which because these are sticky back, they stick to the block, obviously. And they're a nice, firm, easy to use, little dry sanding block. So we've got that with a 1500 at the minute, which we'll come back to in a minute. They also do, Toldacs here, they do the, Kovacs do Tolex cutting discs. And these are really good, we like these. We do like these. This is the 1500, which is what we're going to start with. So I'll run you through this process quite quickly as we go through the basic process. This isn't a standard hook and loop. I'm not quite sure what it is that they use on this, or what they call it, but it's their patent pending, or patented even, interface pad. No, it doesn't say what they call this, but this is their special. The hook and loop has normally got a big hook and loop, and what you quite often find is when you're using the hook and loop, when you stick your pad on there, sometimes you'd find a rogue hook or loop sticking through, which will leave swirl marks in your paint. This system doesn't use that. It's quite a clever little system. So I must stress, this is what I do, and I'm not a detailer. I'm a welder, fabricator and painter. Detailers might use a different method. Other people out there might shout and curse me. But what I generally do when I'm doing a light flatten and a polish, I know I've got that big bit there that I do need to nib out. But what I'll do is straight away, make sure I'm dust free, clean it down. I'll go straight with my 1500 DA across the whole center of the panel, because that will highlight any defects that I need to nib out. Now, the key with all of this is let the machine do the work. I'm not applying any pressure. I've got my speed down low on the DA. I'm just going to do a couple of passes which will identify any low marks or high marks that I need to come back to. So, no pressure, I'm just letting it do the work across the panel. Keeping away from the edges because I don't want to burn through any of my edges. Before I wipe this down, I'm going to come up to do the top section as well. Keeping the speed down low. No pressure, just letting the disc do the cutting. The minute you start applying pressure into it, you're ingraining scratches. Now at this point, you'll be able to see on the disc here, it's taken off such a light surface, which is all on there. And again, because it's dry, with my clean dusting cloth, if I just spin this up, I can wipe all of that off, and my disc is good to go for another cut. Right. Again, no pressure. This is just gliding over the top. And we can see here, we've got several small bits of debris that we need to get out. What you'll also be able to see here is this super fine texture. Now, another plug here for iWater, but this is with the WS clear coat gun that we use, the Series 2. Super fine, it just lays beautifully down. The Noble CSR flows out really nice, so there's minimal texture and peel in this surface straight out off the gun. So it really does pay when you're doing this to have proper equipment. So we're going to cut back now with our 1500 on the blocks. We just focus on that one area. Again, I'm not applying any pressure to this. I'm just keeping circular movements so we don't get any linear scratches. Keep pausing just to clean the block, and you can see with minimal effort here, we're just cutting the top off of that. Really nice. Keep cleaning it. Going against what I just said now with my linears, I'm working it from both angles here.
Again, I know, because I know the quality of this lacquer, we've got plenty there that we can cut with. So just work that out. Back to my linears, circulars. The rest of that we will lose when we go over again with a second cut with a 1500 on the DA. So again, just work those. I could just work this whole thing with a DA pad. The problem with that is you're going to kill a pad because you're trying to cut uneven surfaces, and you're going to end up with uneven surfaces because you're going to sort of almost run a groove into the DA pad as it cuts over the top of these surfaces. You see just how easy these are nibbing out. That one big one there obviously took a little bit more work, but these little ones, a few passes, and they're gone. Another one up there. Right, we'll just check this top line as well here, Lou. A little bit just in here. And we're gone. So just like that, as easy as that, all those nibs are now gone. Excuse me. We'll go back with our 1500 on the DA. What we're going to do now is we'll do a couple of passes over the whole panel again, just to even out these highlighted areas. We do that with the 1500 and get the whole thing an even surface. Again, no pressure, keeping away from the edges. The minute you start rushing this is when it all goes wrong. Patience starts to wear thin, you apply pressure, you speed up, before you know it, you're cutting big grooves into your paintwork, and you've got no choice then but go over and redo the work. Keeping it nice and consistent. I'll just do that top roll, Lee, and then we'll cut down to finer grade. Okay, clean that pad down. Mind yourself. Okay, so we can now see that's a smooth panel. There's no lumps, there's no bumps, there's no little nibs in there. Very quickly and easily, that's cut all of that out. So what we then do, we'll just cut a very, very fine layer off the surface of that. That's with a 1500. We then move that up to a 3000 grade. That will bring us into the realms of being able to cut and polish really nice. So we can then move on to the cutting compound and polish. to bring back that gloss. So again, with a Kovac system, just on a 15, from a 1500 we're now to a 3000. Hopefully Bo will stop for lunch in a minute. Right, so panel cleaned down, 3000 grade, so we're going a finer cutting grade now, just to take the 1500 grade scratches out of this. Take such a refined layer out. And kind of like when we were applying our clear coat, and our base coat for that matter, we're looking at kind of a 75% overlay, so we don't get any stripes in the sanding. No pressure, no speed. You know, slow passes, you keep the DA turned right down as well. Keep on cleaning it all out. Right, there we go. That is essentially all of the cutting that we need to do on this panel. What we'll do, I think Lou, is okay with you, we'll do this in one cut. We'll carry on and just get the final, get the polish done on it, or the cutting compound done on it. Right, let me just grab a cloth. Okay, sorry, back again. Right, change of cloth. This is a polishing cloth. This is my dusting cloth. Keep the two separate, or you're just going to be putting a load of scratches straight back in your freshly painted, freshly prepared panel. Right. Soft cut polishing head here. What I tend to do is with an old mixing stick, or new mixing stick rather, just run it across the surface, just to make sure any loose or cured old polishing compound comes off. Again, no pressure, just passing it along, make sure I've got no lumps of old cutting compound in here. We use the G3 Superfast compound from Ferekla, superb product. There are plenty of others on the market. We might well be looking into something new that's come out soon. We'll let you know how we get on with that. 5 good dollops of cutting compound. Spread it around the panel, the area that you're looking to polish. We're at 1600 RPM for this first cut. So what I'll do is half trigger, just spread the cutting compound around the panel so we're not slapping it everywhere. That's just loosely spread about the panel now. So again, we're going back to let the machine do the work. No pressure, 1600 RPM, slow passes. Keeping away from the edges. With this hand, I'm guiding the head of the mop. I'm not putting any downward pressure on it. Keeping the mop flat to the panel. being very careful around your edges. You catch the mop at any angle onto that edge, it will just cut the paint straight off. Much like with our paintwork or our paint materials, and we're saying read the TDS sheets, technical data sheets, there are instructions that Healey put with their compound. It's real straightforward, and if you stick to them, it's kind of hard to go wrong. They tell you what pads to be using, they tell you the speed to be cutting at, how much to apply, how many passes to take. To a lesser degree, their guidelines, well, to a lesser degree than the paint. The paint is follow those instructions. The cutting compound, start off following their instructions and see how you go. Different clear coats act in different ways. Noble for I'll get it right. The Noble for Classic Car CSR clear coat is exceptionally hard wearing. The instructions on the Healey bottle will tell you 2 passes with this should see it all done and polished. Unlikely with the CSR because it is such a hard lacquer. For it to do its job, it needs to be. So what we'll do is we'll just do this lower part of the panel because I can hear my batteries running out as well. Right, so that's 2 decent slow passes and then 1 full run over. Right, we've still got quite a bit of polish actually on the panel, but this should all come off. You can start to see already that was, I mean, we're doing all this real time, so we're not cutting any corners, we're not doing any off-camera cheats or anything like that. This is testament to the quality of the product. There we go. That's flat. It's got good gloss. There's no nibs in there. The most important thing really is just keep everything clean and as dust free as possible. Now, I can see we've still got there's quite a few little marks along here from the cutting disc. So what we'll probably do at this point is at this point we're going to stop for lunch, but moving forward with this panel, we'll cut and polish the top end, and then we'll put some tape along this line here so that we can get in there with a mini polisher. We'll probably overlay a bit of footage on that. And with a mini polisher, we can just refine in that swage line without risk of burning through anywhere. So that's it really. A few people have asked, what do we do with our cutting and polishing? So there we go, in real time. That's how we cut and polish Noble Classic Car CSR. there we go, all back together again. Hope those that didn't enjoy the rock music enjoyed the funk music we've now switched to for a little bit. Mixing it up a bit, you know. It's done, but it's not done. This will be going away now for, I think the owner's having some mechanical bits and pieces done to it. But we've really struggled with getting these replacement chrome tops. They're rolled aluminium actually. And surprisingly, they're not the same as an Austin Healey. Owner bought a new bonnet grill as well, which isn't the same as an Austin Healey. So that's going away to be replated. It's going to come back from the mechanical work, by which time hopefully we would have resolved the beading issue. The owner is working really hard and has got some good contacts who are hopefully getting the beading sorted out. So it'll come back, just have that finished off. You never know, we might do another video of it finished with chrome beading and a bonnet edge. But fundamentally now, this is all done. It's gone together really well. It is a kit car, so as we've covered before, there's always, panel gaps are never amazing. There's always a few little tweaks and issues, but it's gone together really nice with the CSR clear coat, really giving it some depth. So the owner won't have to worry about future issues like he had before with the coloured gel coat, where it all bled through. If you remember right back at the beginning of part 1, you could see the big milky streaks all the way over the bonnet and so on. So yeah, should be many years of colourful enjoyment for the owner with a real hard-wearing clear coat lacquer and epoxy underpinnings, so no shrinkage and movement going on underneath there. So we hope you have enjoyed this 2-part quick whiz through and a little bit of information on some of the flattening and polishing we do and things like that, trying to keep a bit of different content. Because largely what we do here is we strip cars down, we put epoxy on them, we put colour on them, we put them together again. So we try and keep a little bit of different information coming through in the videos, and we appreciate all of the feedback and the support we're getting. So tune in next week. I've no idea what next week's video will be. We've got so many things going on at the minute and so many half-built videos. It's we'll see what the week ahead brings, and you'll see what it brings next weekend. So thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe. We'll see you soon.